Well, Jean-Baptiste, welcome to
Thank
New
you,
York.
Antonio.
We're thrilled to be at Le Bernardin. This is one of my favorite restaurants in the entire world. When I was a kid, my parents told me there were two great wines, Champagne and Barolo, so I started well. And then my dad in particular, when I was a kid, he gave his clients for Christmas a case. His best clients would get a case of either Cristal or another champagne. And so I grew up with this idea that Cristal was this wine, and as a kid, I always dreamed of, like, when am I going to get to taste Cristal? Now I've had
That's
pretty
a good way.
Yeah.
You can call that a spoiled kid.
Well, no, because it was the sort of thing where my parents might drink that wine, not even once a year, but only like once in the most special of occasions. 50th birthday, some 60th birthday, real milestone. But it was in my mind that this was something that I wanted to learn about, and so over the years we've had a chance to taste lots of wines together. And you were the first chef de cave that I met when I started reviewing these wines.
I remember that.
The Wine Advocate, yeah, on a Saturday or Sunday morning.
Saturday morning.
Yeah, it was fun. Vertical. I remember '82.
Yeah.
And so these wines have always been very special. And so we're really thrilled that you've come to New York and raided the cellar of Champagne Louis Roederer for this wonderful lunch. We've got a couple of wines here. I'm curious, and when we looked at the vintages, we talked about them, but how did you decide, what vintages you wanted to show and put this together?
I think I decided the vintage at all. There is a modern Cristal and there is a traditional Cristal. The modern doesn't exclude tradition, but it's both integrated. I think in Cristal, over the last 25, 30 years, there has been a shift with the farming, a shift with the vision of the wine and everything we are doing. So I think what we will see here in this lineup is the slight change, not an evolution, not a revolution, but a slight change. And I think this is very important for cuvée, prestige cuvée, especially for Cristal, to challenge every year. And because the climate is changing, the conditions are changing, lots of things are changing. So we need to be on the top of our games, and that's what you have seen when you came every year tasting together. You see this is what we do and what we work, and that will be the fun part of this wine, starting with 88 being of course maybe the best vintage for the last 50 years for sure.
Yeah, so this is the last wine. So we each picked a bottle. What did you pick?
I picked 08 because this is maybe the beginning of a new story. 07 we switched to organic farming with Cristal Rosé. So this is the second vintage full organic farming, and so I think it was a new chapter. A new chapter opened with Cristal Rosé 08. And you picked 88.
I picked 88 because I like things that are classic and timeless.
Yeah.
And when you taste a wine like this, it kind of transports you almost to another time.
Yeah.
So I thought 88, and we just tasted through all the wines. It's not every day that I taste 40 champagnes before lunch, but it's okay. It's not a bad way to live. And so the way that we have this menu paired, so I worked really closely with Eric Ripert and Aldo Som, the chef owner and wine director here, to do the menu. When we do these vertical kinds of tastings, I think it's fun to taste thematically and not necessarily chronologically, because you can taste wines with similar characteristics together. So we start obviously with collection first, just to sort of wet the palate. But then as we sit, we're going to have the two 2012s, because I think it's the most open vintage. And then we'll taste side by side the late harvest years that have become very rare, but 8 and 13 together.
Okay.
Blanc and Rosé.
There are similarities between
Similarities, yeah. And so that'll be fun. And then we'll take a little break and go back to 04s, because we have 04 Blanc and 04 Rosé.
Glorious at the moment.
Glorious. And a controversial vintage, because people said the yields are too high and the wines aren't going to be good.
I was afraid with 04 at the beginning, and it turns out they're being very, very beautiful.
Yeah, so that's kind of a medium age vintage. And then we finish with 90 Blanc and 88 Rosé, which we've just tasted, and I think that should be spectacular. Yeah. So that's the program.
Thank you. Great to be here with you.
Thanks for being here, and everybody's starting to arrive already. We've got people arriving, so that's what happens when we do these events. But anything else you want to add?
No, I just can't wait to taste the wines and enjoy this lunch and the icons events of all
Icons weekend
afternoon and tomorrow. So
exactly.
Yeah,
great.
Let's have fun.
Great. Well, thanks everyone for watching, and talk to you soon. Cheers. Thank you, Jean-Baptiste.
Cheers.